I'm 42 years old. My testosterone is 950. No TRT. And it's higher than it was 10 years ago. Now, most guys experience a drop in their T after they hit 30. Mine did the opposite. And it wasn't TRT, and I'm not some sort of a genetic freak either. Okay, decline might be common, but I'm not convinced that it's inevitable. And in this video, I'm going to outline the key changes that I made, some that you probably know, and some that I'm betting that you don't, that helped me boost my testosterone naturally and that are keeping my testosterone high. And of course, I go much deeper into this in a full-length podcast episode, but I'm going to give you the key insights right here. If you are a man, your ability to make testosterone is the closest thing to a superpower that you have, full stop. High testosterone is incredible. Better muscle growth, recovery, drive, energy, focus, and fertility. Not to mention improved mood and lower risk of depression. Said simply, high T, it's an unfair advantage. Not just in the gym, but in life. Unfortunately, the average guy is starting with much lower testosterone than the same guy, say, 50 years ago. There is a reason why TRT, testosterone replacement therapy, once the exclusive domain of older guys and competitive bodybuilders, has gone mainstream, including guys in their 30s, their 20s, even teens. Now, TRT may have its place, but it can impact your fertility and may be setting you up for a lifetime dependency. The calculus is very different for a guy at age 60 as opposed to 16. So if we can do it naturally, if we can boost our testosterone without TRT, we should. So especially if you're a young guy, if you're in your 20s, 30s, certainly if you're a teenager, you should be an absolute testosterone making powerhouse. Okay, full stop. And if you aren't, and no judgment, because I know that's a lot of us, something is off. We should fix it. Which leads us to the most important question that you should be asking when it comes to raising your testosterone naturally. And that is, are you giving your body more reason and more ability to create additional testosterone? Or are you giving your body less reason and less ability to create additional testosterone? Simple question, massive implications. Because as soon as you start mapping your choices, diet, training, lifestyle, into either category, more reason and ability versus less, the picture of why T levels are dropping and what can be done to reverse it becomes pretty obvious. So keep this question in mind as we get into these. So first, eat real whole foods, as clean as you can afford. Now, I'm not talking about vegan or carnivore or taking sides in the diet wars here. Okay, what I'm talking about is a pattern of eating built around real, nutrient-dense whole foods, okay, with little to no ultra-processed foods as possible. Okay, ultra-processed foods are not only low in nutrients, it's not just that they're high in calories and nutrient poor, okay? It's that they often contain pesticides and additives and toxic seed oils that can tax your mitochondria and disrupt your hormones. Same goes for your water. A standard tap water contains endocrine disruptors like atrazine, BPA, PFAS, just to name a few, which can mimic estrogen levels and lower your testosterone levels. Okay, and this isn't tinfoil hat stuff here. Okay, this is well documented. And this was one of the first changes that I made a long time ago, and it has really paid dividends. Okay, highly recommend it. You can filter and remineralize your water. You can buy natural spring water. Okay, you have a lot of options here, but this is super important. And let me add just one more point about foods, and that is don't fear fat. Now, obviously, I'm not talking about a bunch of toxic seed oils and ultra processed fried foods, okay? That's not what I'm talking about here. But real fat and cholesterol are the building blocks of testosterone. And you want to know something wild? Both cortisol and testosterone, they are made from the same nutrient, cholesterol. Yeah, your body can use cholesterol to either make additional cortisol, the hormone of stress, or to make additional testosterone, nature's original and best performance enhancing drug. And your body makes it. Okay, at least it should. But it's an either or. And sure, of course, cortisol, it has its place, especially in acutely stressful settings. But chronically high levels of cortisol versus chronically high levels of testosterone, it's a no-brainer. right? And your choices can make a difference here. You want to consume whole foods, including real foods with fat and cholesterol in them, eggs, shrimp. You got a lot of options here across the plant and animal kingdom. But this is where you're going to get the key nutrients for testosterone, including zinc, vitamin D, magnesium, iron, and of course, cholesterol. Now, I'm a real foods, whole foods kind of a guy. Okay, got a strong bias here. But supplements can also help you cover some gaps. So, second, consider strategic supplements if needed. Now, for myself, I take a high quality multivitamin. I take desiccated fish eggs. I take beef organs, magnesium glycinate, and based on my blood work, omega 3 and iron. And there's nothing magical about this list of supplements that I've provided. I take these not specifically to boost testosterone, but to support overall nutrient status. Okay, my strong bias is towards real whole foods. Okay, I don't take any protein powder. I don't take any creatine. Okay, none of that. Right, I tread very, very cautiously when it comes to anything like that. That's just my own bias. Okay, third, train and get lean. There is a very, very strong association between increased BMI and lower T. And this is one of those things that can be a virtuous or a vicious cycle here, in which your choice in movement can help you get lean, which can in turn help raise your T, thus enabling additional physical performance. Now, my bias here is towards high intensity interval training. I've done the bro splits, not knocking it per se, but this is just what's really worked well for me. And if you want to know where I'd start specifically, I have an entire podcast episode on how to get lean, how to get ripped, and how to get aesthetic. Okay. What I personally have discovered to be the best ROI movements, patterns that have worked for me. And again, I'm speaking from personal experience here, and there's no judgment because there was a time in my adult life that I was almost 50 pounds heavier. All right. Officially obese based on BMI. Okay. So I'm certainly not judging. But I do know that it is possible to get lean and to get ripped without insane calorie deficits or without weight loss drugs. So if that's of interest, check that out. I'll add the link in the description below. Fourth, sleep. Sleep is critical, and I'm not perfect in this area. My goal is to get about 7 hours of high quality sleep per night, sleeping consistently, soundly through the night. Sleep is when the body recovers, regulates hormones, and supports optimal testosterone production. There's just no way around it. Okay. And again, we want to keep in mind our most important question. Are we giving the body more reason and ability to create more T or less? And how we eat, how we train, how we supplement and recover, all these things incrementally make a difference. Right? They all matter. Okay, so let's move on to the less obvious things. Things that may be quietly sabotaging your optimal testosterone levels without you even knowing it. Pornography. Now, the good news here is that a lot of guys are waking up to the fact that porn is killing their T. Now, this wasn't always the case. Okay, I remember back in college, I think it was in an intro to psych class in which the professor claimed that watching porn was not only healthy for you, but that it actually probably raised your testosterone. All right, well, sure. You give a sexually mature guy the visual cue, right, of anticipating sex by showing him porn, and then you measure his testosterone. Yeah, I'm sure it's going to go up, right, in that moment. But that's not really the right way to think about it, obviously. Right? We'd want to know what the effects are over time, right? Not minutes after seeing an explicit video, but months and years after habitual use. And for many guys who haven't bothered to wait on the science on this, cutting porn has been a complete game changer for their testosterone. And when you think about it, it makes complete sense. Testosterone is a hormone that makes striving feel good. Now, what is a thing that most men are willing to strive for? The procreative act, right? If it's doled out instantly, effortlessly, for free, with the click of a button or the swipe of a finger, again, is it any wonder that T levels have dropped as pornography use has climbed? I mean, I don't think it's a mystery. 6, alcohol. Alcohol is a hormone disruptor, okay, and that includes testosterone. But it's more than that. It also disrupts sleep, which again further suppresses hormone production, further suppresses testosterone production. And there's something else that's important here. Now, there's no denying that alcohol can reduce stress in the short term, But there's a trade-off at play here that I think most people are missing. And that is that alcohol can raise your cortisol levels over time, leaving you less able to handle similar stressors in the future. Sure, it's a vicious cycle. But remember, the body can take cholesterol and make additional cortisol or additional testosterone. Now, we want it to make the right choice, and chronic alcohol consumption can get in the way of that. Now, I personally cut out alcohol about 2 years ago, and the wild thing is, I didn't do it for health reasons. But I think that this one change has probably been responsible for taking my T levels from the 700s up into the 900s. 7. Sunlight. Sunlight supports vitamin D production, which is needed for high T, and most of us don't get enough of it. Getting 10 to 20 minutes of sunlight on your skin daily, especially larger areas like your chest, like your back, can make a huge difference. And if you've got darker skin, it's going to require more exposure. So you got to adjust accordingly. Okay, so that's my list. Those are the changes that I've made in the past few years that have helped me bring my testosterone from, say, the 700s, where it was in my 30s, up into the 900s, now 950 at age 42. Am I some sort of genetic outlier? I don't think so. But I think that by focusing on each one of these things incrementally, not all at once, certainly not being perfect, but that it makes a huge difference. That instead of the 1% decline that the experts have told me that I should be experiencing, I'm 200 points higher than I was 10 years ago. There are some things on this list that are probably somewhat obvious, maybe not, but I'm betting there are at least a few that most guys don't realize are quietly tanking their T levels without them even knowing it. So, if you are feeling like your testosterone is less than optimal, like you're feeling flat, give these a shot. Certainly before reaching for that prescription, and definitely if you're a guy that's in your 20s or in your 30s, or God forbid, a teenager. Okay, your body is a testosterone making powerhouse. Okay, at least it should be. It's time to unleash it. And if you want to know even more, if this isn't enough, and you want to know my full thoughts on testosterone and how to reclaim the superpower of high testosterone that the modern world is robbing you of, check out that full audio podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or YouTube by following the link below.